Hey there, my friend. Welcome to the Leadership Table. I am so excited to have you on for this discussion we're going to have today. We're going to be talking about why the best CEOs put people over profit. And you may be saying, well, the best CEOs put people over profit. How does that happen? And I want to give you a little context before we jump in. Today I'm going to share 7 things. And then the last thing I'm going to share, number 8, is going to be a system that you can use that will consistently produce very good results by putting people over profit, but it'll make sure that you're stewarding and adding value and driving financial performance too. I'm not ignorant to the fact that businesses need to produce results, but I want to share with you and give you like give you a position to really think through. Okay, so many years ago, I had read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, and I'm sure you probably have read that as well because it's one of the best leadership business books of all time. Now, in the book Good to Great, Jim Collins and part of his research team, they really are looking at the difference between the good to great companies compared to the S&P 500 companies. And what they did is what they looked at was why did good to great companies perform significantly higher than the S&P 500? Now, I just want to share this with you as if you're a CEO or know a CEO that needs to hear this message, I would share it. But this is the reason why. Short-term results are not easy indicators of long-term success. Now, what do I mean by that? In the book Good to Great, what Jim Collins and his team looked at was really dynamic leaders that led organizations. And he found that when there was an organization that had a very good dynamic leader, they would typically outperform the S&P 500 by about 300% or 3 times, right? So as a case in point, in the S&P 500, these are companies that are in the same industry, same sector, over the same period of time. The good to great companies performed about 3 times more and 3 times better results than the S&P 500. Now, this is crazy because there was a study done by firms of Endearment, and what they looked at is they looked at organizations, CEOs that led companies, but these companies led with a stakeholder model, meaning how do we add value to our partners, to our community, to really leading with purpose and vision and values and adding value to people. And what they found is that these organizations were typically on average about 10 times more successful than the S&P. So you're looking at 1,020% return over a 10-year period of time compared to 120% at the S&P level. Same industry, same sector, same time period. But what was really interesting, and this is going to lead me into the conversation today, and it's the reason why as CEOs it's so important to have a long-term perspective. Because what happened is in the short period of time, the companies that were leading quarter to quarter, like the S&P 500 companies, for the first couple of years, they were more profitable. But the longer time went on, the firms of Endearment companies that led with a stakeholder model, that led with purpose and vision and values and the connected giftedness and strategy and metrics, and led with that, were 15 to 17 times more successful than the S&P 500 over a 15-year period of time. You're talking about a 1,500% growth compared to 100% growth, to 120% growth, to 150% growth. And the reason why I bring that up is this. If you're a business leader, it makes sense. If you're leading an organization, it makes sense to take a long-term perspective and put your people over profit. And what happens is, if you do that well for long periods of time, you're going to have more profit. So let's jump on in and let's really go through it a little bit further. So the first thing is this, okay? And don't miss what I'm about to share. People drive profit. It's not the other way around. If you really think about it, most of the time, It's the people in an organization that's dealing with the customer and dealing with the client, that's adding value to them, that's driving the success of that organization. I can say this for me personally, coming out of college, I thought the vision was more important than the people. For the longest time, it was the vision. If the people didn't catch the vision, then we get rid of the people. But the truth of it is, it's the people are more important than the vision, because you'll never have a vision that'll come to fruition if you don't have the right people. And for me, for a while, I struggled through that. As I've matured as a leader, as my wife and I have grown, we now recognize that it's people that drive profit, not vice versa. When people know that they're valued, when they know that they're cared for, when they know that their leader wants to see them succeed, they give you your best. When they don't know that they're cared for, when they don't think that their leader wants to see them succeed, they give you just enough so that they can get by and keep their job, but not enough where the company can be successful. Think about that. Think about what I just said. They give you just enough. So they show up right on time and they leave right on time, but you don't get their best. That's the reason why people drive profit. When people feel valued, when people know that they're cared for, when you invest in your people, one of the things, and I'm not saying we do it perfectly at Lions Pride Leadership and our companies, but one of the things that I try my best to do is I try to invest in the people in my company that even if one day they're not with us, they're better because they were around us. And that should be a culture. The best CEOs that focus on people and not profit, those are the ones that have tremendous growth and results. And I just want to encourage you, put the people over the profit, and then you'll have a lot of profit. It's a really important aspect. If we think short term, of course, you'll do everything to cut expenses. But if you're thinking long term, you invest in the people, you develop the people. I often say this: you define and then you refine. When you define your purpose, your vision, and your values, then you can refine your people to turn them into high performers who know that they matter because you constantly invest and sow into them. That's the first one. People drive profit, and it's not the other way around. Let me give you the second one. A strong culture will attract top talent and keep them. A strong culture will attract top talent and will keep them. Now, why is that important? Why do the best CEOs focus on the people? Because they know that in an organization that has top talent, they know that that'll be a self-policing organization. Now, you may say, Chad, what do you mean by self-policing? I'm going to give you. One of the things that I remember an interview that Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, said. He said that in Apple, they created a culture that were high performers. And they didn't accept other people that didn't perform as high performers. Why? Because they created a culture that attracts and keeps top talent. The reason why I'm bringing that up to you today is this. It's that when you think about developing your people, when you think about growing revenue, when you think about growing profit, are you creating a culture that attracts top talent? I can tell you that in many companies, top talent will run away if they come into a company and they see that people are not performing well. At first, they'll deal with it. For a little bit, they'll allow it. But eventually they say, I'm done with this, I'm leaving. And my friend, as you're growing your organization, as you're focusing as a leader that's making a difference, are you attracting top talent or are you repelling them? Is your culture attracting top talent? Because your culture will attract who you are. My friend and mentor, John Maxwell, says this all the time. He says, you teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. We can tell the world that we're one type of culture at our company. but our company will tell the world who we really are. Think about that for a moment. Marketing and public relations tells the world what they should think about you, but your employees tell the world of who you really are and how they should engage with you. So as we're looking at driving results, are we taking a people first approach? Let's go to the third one. Happy employees create happy customers. I mean, the greatest way to look at this is this. If your people are happy, they're going to make your customers happy. If your people are loving what they do, your customers are going to love your organization. But if your people are miserable every day, they show up miserable, your customers and your clients are going to feel that. And besides, let's just say hypothetically that you have phenomenal people that can mask what they're feeling. Science says the opposite. Science says when you look at all the data and the supporting science that supports this, you look at it and you say that energy must flow somewhere. So what does that mean? If your people are not happy, that unhappiness can't just stay in their body. It has to go somewhere. So who does it go to? It goes to other team members and it goes to your customers. So as a leader, when we put our people over profit and we develop our people, guess what happens? Your happy employees now make your team members and your customers and clients happy, because energy must flow where attention goes. And when you think of it, if your people are happy, they can't keep it inside, they got to communicate it. When your people are unhappy, they can't keep it inside, they have to communicate it. So you're going to be communicating a message. The question is, what message are they communicating? I know for our organizations, we've had issues where people weren't happy and they communicated messages. We've had also instances where people were very happy and they communicated messages. And I can tell you, when you look at both scenarios, that I want our customers and our team members to be feeling fulfilled and happy. And when that message is communicated, it just continues to encourage and grow our organization and our culture. Let me give you number 4. The reason why the best CEOs focus on people, not profit, is because when you focus on people, you drive innovation. And that then creates a people-first culture. You see, scientifically, it's proven that when people are threatened, their body releases chemicals. When people are threatened, the chemicals that are released through the body also reduce innovation. When people are in a culture that they're not happy, there is also chemicals in the body that is creating a negative position in the firm. So why is it so important to have a people-first approach as a CEO of a company? Is because besides it being an enjoyable work environment where people want to come and they want to work with each other and they want to challenge one another and they want to grow, you also, you kind of light a fire to innovation. And the truth of it is that organizations that don't innovate die. Think about that for a moment. If you're a CEO and you have all these people on your team and they're not innovating, then how are you growing? You see, creating a people-first culture creates innovation. Innovation creates solutions. Solutions drive results. Clients pay for solutions. Solutions are created by innovation. So if we stagger innovation, we stop solutions. When we stop solutions, clients start moving their money elsewhere. That's the reason why the best CEOs focus on their people. Let me give you the next one, number 5. People-first leadership builds long-term success. I shared it with you earlier with the book Good to Great, Firms of Endearment, that organizations that focus on their people build long-term success. Now, many of the clients that we work with, they're not looking at a 12-month calendar. They're looking at a significant long period of time that they're trying to build results over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. What's hard is when you don't have people first leadership and you're only focused on the results, you're only going to get people on your team to do what they have to. You're not going to get the best of the people. You're only going to get what they're willing to give you, which is just enough. Just enough they'll give you until they find a better position to leave. So when you as a leader are looking at your organization, you want to look at, who are my people? Who are the ones that matter? How do I add value to them? How do I make them great leaders? One of the things I say all the time is I say, the greatest leaders are trying to replace themselves with better leaders. Like when I'm looking for someone in our organizations, I want people that are going to do it better than me, because the thing I know is if they do it better than me, then I don't need my attention to be on it, because they're going to teach me how to do it. But when we have a people first approach to leadership, it becomes really important to find good people. But I want to share this with you. And I hear this often when we're working with corporations and we're training leaders, and they say, well, I'm not seeing that from my senior leader. You know, we're talking about developing, we're talking about growing, but the person I report to, they're not growing. And my friend, if you're a CEO that's building a people-first approach to your organization, this is the thing. And I'm going to give you this, and I really hope that you hear my heart on it. Your ability to grow as a senior leader will be your people's ability to grow on the team. If you stop growing, they stop growing. One of the reasons why I'm constantly challenging myself as a leader is not because I need more, it's because my people need more. I don't necessarily need more. Quite honestly, there are many times where I said, well, if we were just to sell this company, this would be a lot easier at times, because a lot of the times great leaders have to consistently force themselves to grow so that the people around them can have greater opportunities. And as a leader, are you looking for opportunities to grow yourself? Because the last thing you want to do is become a lid to everyone in your organization. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. John Maxwell, in his 21 Laws of Leadership book, he talks about the law of the lid. And basically it says this. It says that if a leader has a lid on themselves, so let's say from a 1 to a 10, and let's say your leadership ability is a 6, your organization will never grow beyond the 6. It'll always hit the lid. And what will happen is the people underneath you will also hit a lid, because they will not be able to grow because the leader has put a lid on what's possible for the organization. And as a leader, our job is to raise lids and create opportunity. So as a CEO who's putting people first, we need to make sure that our lid is growing. My lid, your lid, because if your lid is growing and we're constantly growing and we're getting better, that allows the people around us to grow and get better. But I've found so many leaders that have said this, and honestly, to a certain extent, it's a little bit disgusting. I don't need to grow. Well, if you don't need to grow, then stop leading. Because the moment you stop growing, your people and their futures stop growing. If you don't think that you need to develop yourself, if you don't think that you need to grow yourself, then my friend, please put your resignation letter in today. Because the truth of it is you have become a bottleneck and a lid to everyone on your organization. Now, I know that's not you. I'm just saying in general that Leadership and growth is required, especially as a CEO and a key leader in an organization. One of the things that makes leading so difficult is that great leaders don't get to vote as often as they used to. I know as I continue to grow as a leader and as we continue to make a positive impact in many people's lives, the things that I used to have the ability to do, I no longer have the ability to do. I used to be able to just wake up and say, I don't want to do this, so I didn't do it. But now I don't have that ability when you have all these people that are depending and relying on you. And my friend, I just want to share that when you have a people first leadership approach, you will build a long-term success. Let me give you number 6. Strong leaders multiply leaders. Hear me out. Strong leaders multiply leaders, not just followers. This is tough because CEOs that focus on people sometimes focus on the wrong people. Now, let me provide context. If you have 50 or 60 hours in a week and you put it on the wrong people, meaning the people that are not bringing a return, and I don't mean financial return, I mean a return to the team, that people are getting better because you invested in them, then what happens is you're robbing your team of the opportunity of growing. It's tough sometimes when you talk to leaders who have a big heart for people, because their heart for people sometimes wants to just make everyone equal. I know it's a struggle that I deal with at times, that I want to spend time with everyone. But our job, if you're a CEO or a high-level C-suite executive, our job is to guide our organizations and develop our people and create opportunities. That's our job. And when we start putting so much time and energy to the problems and the people that are creating those problems consistently, and we take our time away from developing leaders that multiply more leaders, we actually create a lid to what's possible for the organization. Some time ago, I made a decision. I'm no longer going to invest time in people that don't see the need for having to then take what I've shared with them and invest it in others. So one of my criteria for when I'm going to invest in someone is this going to be a dead end or is this going to be a river? If it's going to be a dead end, then I'm going to be very hesitant with how much time I'm going to put into them. Because what I know is that when I put it into them, it's going to end with them. But when I have leaders that are rivers, I know that what I share with them, they'll be a river to share it with others. And the great thing about a river is a river with the water that moves in a river, it brings life to the entire ecosystem. And that's the same thing with great leaders. Great leaders know that if they invest in leaders that multiply, it brings value to the entire ecosystem of the culture of the company. And when you invest in people that are a dead end, they don't take what they've learned and give it to others. It stops there. And you can't build great organizations. You can't be a great CEO if you're putting so much time into the dead end people and not enough time into the people that are multiplying more leaders. And I don't mean, just hear me out here. I don't mean that you don't care for your people. That's not what I'm saying. Everyone on my team never has to worry. I will care for them. But caring for them and giving them more of my time is two different things. You earn my time, you don't earn my care. And as a leader, as a CEO, as a C-suite, as an executive, the people on your team have to earn the time, because if you're giving time to people that don't earn the time, you won't have enough time to give it to the ones that should have your time. That's why the best CEOs focus on people, but we got to prioritize where are the hours going to be going. Let me give you the next one. When you take care of your people, they'll take care of your business. It's very simple. People that feel valued add value to people that come into your business. So when your people feel valued, they will add value to the people that come into your business. When your people don't feel valued, they will subtract value from people that come into your business. So when you think about that, the greatest way to grow your business is to add value to your people. And the truth of it is that if you did it with the right motives, it's going to add the greatest value. Because I know organizations that will add value to people, but they're only doing it because they want to drive profit. And then I know people and organizations that want to add value to their people because they care about their people, and the byproduct is significant profit. It's real key. When you take care of your people will take care of your business. Hey, I want to give you a framework before we wrap up. We have a couple of minutes before we wrap up on this leadership table. I want to give you a framework that we use. It's called our business model alignment. It's a framework that we work with CEOs and their organizations on. It allows organizations to connect the dots, add value, and we call it a SMART and HEART model, meaning the SMART side of it on the business model alignment is purpose, vision, and values. The organizations that lead with purpose, why that organization exists, vision, where are we going, and values, what are the things we won't compromise. That's the heart side of it. But then you take the SMART side of it, and we call that giftedness, strategy, and metrics. Most organizations focus on strategy. How are we going to capitalize on the market share? How are we going to go to market? The strategy is very important, but you need heart and SMART. When you connect heart and SMART, purpose, vision, values to giftedness, strategy, and metrics, it unlocks potential. Giftedness is what is the uniqueness of each person that's on that team, and how do they add the greatest value to the team and to the clients? Strategy, how do we connect strategy? The strategy are the things that we need to do to execute on to allow that vision to become a reality. And then the last one is metrics. Metrics are the things that we're going to be held accountable to. The word accountability is a phenomenal word when we're talking to leaders. Hear me out, because I'm about to wrap up and I don't want you to miss this last piece. When we're talking to leaders, accountability is really received well. When we're talking to followers, accountability is resisted. You see, when people are held accountable and they embrace it, they grow. When people are held accountable and they resist it, they leave your organization. My friend, accountability is great. It's one of the greatest attributes of a leader. Great leaders want to be held accountable because their accountability allows them to multiply accountability throughout the organization. As a CEO, as a senior level leader, embrace accountability and watch what happens. You're going to find that the best leaders are accountable, they care for their people, and they add value to their people. And I just want to thank you for joining us on the leadership table. You know, I say this often. The leadership table is where mature leaders have mature conversations. These are mature conversations. And I just want to thank you for allowing me into your life, allowing you into your world. May you and your organization continue to thrive. Until next week, God bless you, and we'll see you on the leadership table. You're listening to the Leadership Table. I am so excited that you've joined us. Hey, listen, you want to join us in future episodes where we're going to invite some of our greatest friends, some of the greatest leaders we know to share all about their leadership journeys and just add tremendous value to you and your teams. Hey, listen, drop a comment below on your biggest takeaway, what is impacting you the most. Like it. Share it with those people that you know need to hear this message. And subscribe, and hey, listen, turn on the notifications. I just want to thank you because you are making a difference. As you help us, we help you, and we just divide the work and multiply the impact. My friend, thank you for joining us on the Leadership Table.